I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
Is this a little too young?
That's a little too everything.
Let's face it, Dad. You are not doing this for the sake of art. You are doing this because you want to feel relevant again. Fuck! Seriously? It's like you're photoshopped.
Because maybe I'm not good enough.
Yes, you are.
No. No, maybe I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Maybe I'm not.
You are.
Maybe I'm not.
You are.
Am I blushing right now? That's a really big compliment. Thank you.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to another special edition of the Best Thing We've Seen podcast. My name is Flo.
And I'm Gabe.
How's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm fine.
It's a momentous occasion because this is the first episode where we both have the same microphone. So we're pleased to announce that Gabe has now upgraded. Well, we don't know if it's an upgrade, but we now have the same microphone, and I think it sounds better than it did before. So I'm happy that you splashed the cash.
Yeah, and I'm financially invested in this thing, so
yes,
better work.
We're in it now. Well, we have like a month, right? So within a month, you could send it back.
Yeah, but I don't want to. I kind of like it.
Ah, good. I'm
Looks
glad.
professional.
Yes. Well, I think before we get into today's show, we need to talk about the best thing that's happened all week, which is our good friend, our very good friend, a dear friend of the show, Ricky Gervais. I mean, you've all heard his name, I'm sure. I think we kind of made him famous here, but we just want to say thanks, Ricky, for liking and retweeting our recent tweet, like the latest episode where we talked about Afterlife and its bloopers. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of crazy because you on Twitter you have like an insight as to how many people have seen the tweet, and you usually we get a couple of hundred impressions or something like that, and we got quite a bit more this week. So if anyone's new around here, if anyone discovered us from that tweet and through Ricky's retweet, and or maybe just if you're new due to different circumstances, welcome to the show. We hope you enjoy listening to two idiots talk about some great films, shows, videos, paintings. Haven't talked about a painting, have we?
A gaming trailer, we've had one.
Yes, we had some Blu-ray
branching
covers.
out.
Right, branching out. Yeah. Anything you want to add to that Ricky Gervais thing?
Thank you. I mean, it's amazing. I wouldn't think that he would react to something like that. Then again, I doubted that he's actually listened to the podcast. But who cares? Yeah, it's still amazing.
we'll pretend like he did.
Yeah. So
the funny thing is,
welcome, Ricky.
Welcome, Ricky. Welcome back. He liked the tweet, right? And then he retweeted it like an hour later. So I don't know what happened there. Because usually, if celebrities they like random tweets, they just press a button and then carry on. But he must have somehow come back to the tweet an hour later and then retweeted it, which in theory could be a good thing,
Well, my theory is it's because of our amazing new cover art. So that's probably the reason.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I need to. Obviously, today is a special episode, and I've been working on a special cover. Obviously, we need to the intro and the cover where we just feature today's special person. But yeah, hopefully I'll figure out something that catches the eye, or however you say that.
Yeah, well, the person we'll talk about today is quite eye-catching.
Yeah.
One could say.
Oh, hello. Well, as we talked about it, unfortunately, we can't tweet at her this week because she doesn't have Twitter. So maybe I'll just tweet at Ricky again. And,
he'll tell her.
Yeah, he'll tell her. Yeah. Right. So, do you want to tell the viewers, the listeners, how this special episode works and what we do around here?
Yeah, sure. Well, normally we talk about the best thing that we've seen all week, which could be, like we said, painting, movie. Well, we say painting. It hasn't been a painting yet.
It hasn't been a painting.
But yeah, a movie, a TV show, whatever. And in our special episodes, we choose a specific person and seek out the best thing that we've seen from that person in the form of a top 10 list. And our top 1 pick will be the best thing that we've seen from whatever person we talk about.
Right. Well said. And today's special person, obviously it's in the title. We'll talk about an actress that I think we're both a big fan of. She's certainly one of my favorite actresses. We talked about Amy Adams before, which is one of your favorite actresses, and I don't know how you feel about Emma Stone, who we're going to talk about today, but I'm sure you're a big fan as well.
Yeah, she's great, and she's starred in some movies that I absolutely love. So yeah, we'll get to that later.
Well, she's been in so many great things over the years, and she's now like solidified herself as, I don't know, maybe one of the top 5 actors working today. I don't know. Yeah, she's certainly one of the A-listers in Hollywood during these times.
In like her last 4 or 5 years, she's gotten 3 Academy Award nominations, very well-deserved ones.
Yeah. She hasn't. No, she won. Of course, she won for La La Land, didn't she? Yeah. I'm excited to see what she'll do next. I've heard about, like, I think she's doing an Alexander Payne movie as well next with Ray Fiennes, something like that.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and she obviously she's doing Babylon with Damien Chazelle, the director of La La Land, and Brad Pitt is also going to be in that. So that's certainly very, very enticing, and I'm looking forward to that. Who knows when that's going to come out? But I think obviously now it's going to be postponed. I don't know when that'll be done, but it's something to look forward to. Right. Do you remember the first thing that you've seen from her? Do you remember where you first noticed her?
Well, the first thing that I've seen from her would either be Zombieland or Superbad, which are 2 great comedies. And I think one of her first roles, especially Superbad.
For sure, that would be my pick. Like, that's the first thing that I've seen from her as well. Because I saw Zombieland, I didn't see that when it came out. I saw that one quite a few years later. And Superbad I remember seeing when it came out. So that was one of the first things that I've seen from her. And she's... I mean, Superbad. She's not really one of the main characters in that film, obviously, but that was sort of the stepping stone for her career, and she's taken advantage of that. And she's, as we said, she's gotten so many. She's done so many amazing things since then.
Yeah.
When did that come out? Roles. 2008, something like that. 2009. That's over 10 years ago. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I remember when the film came out, they just Blu-rays kind of started to become popular.
Yeah.
So yeah, must be 10 years plus. Yeah.
2007.
All right. Well.
Yeah. Close enough. Right. So you described it perfectly. We'll do a top 10 list. We'll just do 1 pick each. We'll count it down to the top 10 to the number 1, to the best thing that we've seen. We haven't talked about this list. We have no idea what the other one has chosen. And I think we'll do it the same way as we did with our last special episode. No, if one of us has it higher, then we'll
postpone the discussion.
Yeah, we'll wait till we get to the higher pick, and then we'll talk about it so that we don't talk about certain things twice.
Yeah.
And maybe, if it's my number 10 and your number 8, then maybe we can talk about it. But if it's like, if there's a big gap in between, then we'll wait. Sound good?
Yeah, I'm just thinking what could be on your list right now. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I try to. We talked about it in one of our last episodes. Like I tried to fill some gaps that I had, like 2 things that I wanted to watch, and the reason why I kept postponing today's recording was because I didn't get to finish it in time, and now I finished what I wanted to watch like 30 minutes ago. I don't know if it was worth it. I don't know if it was worth it, but I managed to watch 2 things, and one of them completely surprised me, and I loved it, and that's going to make an appearance pretty high up on my list.
So it's the first time you've watched both of these things, or
yeah.
some rewatches?
I didn't get to rewatch anything, which is a shame, because there are some things that I wanted to rewatch and I didn't do it, but I'll just. I'll need you to carry the lead on when we talk about those films.
All right. Well, I've tried to rewatch 2 films, and I finally watched one thing.
A new
finally.
thing?
Yeah, one new thing.
Yeah.
But there's so many other films that I haven't seen in such a long time, and I've put them, I think, in a comfortable place. But
yeah, same. Same.
I don't remember, well, most of the plot, to be honest. I just remember my impression when I watched the film.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go off of that.
Yeah. Well, we the way we usually do these lists is like, it's always difficult to balance the performance and the film. So if it's like a film where she has a very, very small role and the film is great, that's not necessarily then the best thing that we've seen from that person, because she's in it for too little time. So we try to balance it out,
Yeah.
But I'm excited to hear your picks. So
yeah, same.
Let's start it off. Who started off the last one? We did. Last one was Cooper, wasn't it? Bradley Cooper and
what was number 10?
I think it was me with the A Team, right?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. All right, then you start us off. Let's go.
All right. The thing that I picked for number 10 is a film that I rewatched, and I was quite surprised when I rewatched it because I realized how little Emma Stone is in it.
Okay.
That's why it's sadly my number 10, but it's a great film in itself, and it's Crazy Stupid Love.
That's higher on my list.
All right. Well, then
that is a significant amount higher on my list.
Yeah, I thought it would be higher on my list as well, but when I rewatched the film, I saw that she really made a kind of a bigger appearance only like after the 1 hour mark in the film. So,
well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later. All right.
Yeah.
What's your number 10?
So my number 10 is also something that I watched for this show, and it's the one thing that I finished 30 minutes ago. And I'm excited I'm interested in hearing if you have that higher. But my number 10 is Maniac.
I finally watched it as well for this.
Oh, you did? I thought you saw it back in the day.
I started. I've watched like the first 2-3 episodes, and then I never finished it.
Same thing. I now forced myself to finish it. So do you have it on your list?
It is. It's a bit higher.
Okay. Should we talk about it now, or should we wait for it?
Well, let's wait for it.
Okay, sure.
All right, so it's a quick round. Let's move on to number 9.
Yeah.
Number 9 for me is Battle of the Sexes.
Interesting. Did not make my list.
Your list?
No, did not make my list.
It almost didn't make my list as well, but I then put it on my list, and then I realized that I had to put it higher than Crazy Stupid Love because, well, she's kind of the leading role in this film.
Yeah, along with Steve Carell. Yeah.
Steve Carell, yeah. And, well, it's a good performance, and that's why it's not as high on this list, because it's not as memorable, but it's quite an interesting story, and it's kind of a deep performance, and it's kind of cool when actors kind of do a sport thing and kind of really get into that sport, and you see that they've trained for it, and they've put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah. Do you want to just give a quick summary what it's about?
Yeah. Battle of the Sexes is a real story about a woman, a professional tennis player who...
Is it Billie Jean King? Is that her name?
Probably, maybe. I'm so bad with names, especially if it's about tennis or anything like that.
I'll look it up. You'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
And a tennis player, a male tennis player, made a remark of, well, a bad male tennis player could still beat the best female tennis player. And she kind of took him up on that challenge, and they performed a public match between her and a retired. He was a retired professional tennis player.
Yeah.
And it's about that match and what it symbolized and the pressure that was especially on her. And also it's shown from Steve Carell's character's perspective of how he kind of want to make a comeback with this whole story.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's an interesting story, but it's not a great film, to be honest.
Right. It is Billie Jean King, and it was against Bobby Riggs. That's Steve Carell. And that was in the 70s, yeah. So it's been a while, but that movie came out like we saw that in the sneak, I think.
Yeah, we did.
So it came out like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, something like that. And I remember liking it too, but I just didn't. It didn't really stick in my mind for too long, so I didn't even consider it, to be honest, for this list. I kind of forgot about that film.
Well, the final thing is I didn't know what else to put in this list instead, which could take its place. So I'm excited to see what you thought was.
I was going to ask you that. I forgot to ask you. So did you struggle to make 10, or did you are you happy with the list, or?
Well, there was pretty much, I think, exactly 11 good things that I've seen from her. But, well, I will not say too much because probably
Okay.
be on your list. But I would be surprised if you put a specific thing on this list.
Okay.
And
okay.
I think it's good. Maybe it might be your number 9 now because I don't think it would make the top 5.
Okay.
So,
well, interesting. Interesting. Yeah. So my number 9 is another film that we saw together. I think. I'm not even sure now. Irrational Man.
Oh, okay. It's a bit higher.
Did we see that together? I think we did.
We did in the Haydn.
Yeah.
Cinema.
Yeah. Right. All right. Sure. Let's talk about it later. What's your number 8?
My number 8 is Zombieland.
Yeah, that didn't make my list either.
All right.
I'm not a big fan of those two films.
That's fine. I mean,
Thank you.
I understand why you wouldn't love it. I think the kind of the pop culture reference between Zombieland is kind of too big. I don't know. Everybody talks about it in this Twinkie thing, and it's not as funny as everybody pretends it is. But it's a fine film, and it's kind of a fun film to watch. And
I actually I like the second one, maybe even more than the first one, which is a very controversial statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I had low expectations for the second one, and I had a good time.
I thought the second one was quite terrible. But
all right.
Well, I think the first one, it is quite funny, but then again, it's not as much focused on Emma Stone's performance, but more focused on Woody Harrelson and Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of the four of them, no? And with what's her name?
The little sister.
I'll ask the guy with Abigail Breslin. Is that it? I think that's it. Yeah, sure.
But yeah, the reason I still picked it higher than, let's say, Crazy Stupid Love or Battle of the Sexes is because, well, it was one of the first films that I actually saw her in, and it's a fun film. I used to watch it a lot with my brother back in the day.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's fun. It's a very shallow comedy, but it's fine.
Yeah, no, everyone seems to love, especially the first one, and I get its charm. It has some funny moments, but it just didn't really connect to me. Like I think I saw that one after like Shaun of the Dead, which is similar in tone and obviously a zombie comedy, and I just preferred Shaun of the Dead a lot more than.
Well, I don't think it's much of a competition. Shaun of the Dead just written way better.
Well, I think there's people that would put them on the same pedestal.
And just from a writing perspective, I think there's just no competition.
Sure. I agree.
All right. What's your number 8?
My number 8 is going to be another one that's going to be higher on your list. This is like perfect. This works out perfectly. Again, we'll just talk about everything like 30 minutes later when we get to it. My number 8 is The Favorite.
What?
Is that your number 1?
8? Okay. No, but still, it's quite high. What?
What do you mean it's high? Yours is higher.
Yeah, it's quite high on my list, yeah.
Yeah. No, I knew it.
But also, are you high? What?
No, but listen, literally like 8-1 on my list. I'm looking at it now. I love every single one of those films. So this is not a bash towards The Favorite. If we would do an Olivia Colman special, then that would be number 1 or 2. After Fleabag, I think it would be number 2. Yeah. All right, then we'll talk about it later.
Crazy. All right. Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
What's your number?
I'm mind blown.
7.
It's Maniac, which describes you perfectly for putting favorite number 8.
Thank you.
What? Sorry,
what are you talking about?
Blew my mind. But all right, let's postpone it.
Once again, okay. So Maniac, what did you think of it?
Maniac, yeah, it was better than I thought it would be. Especially, I think it really kind of started with episode 3, and I think that's when I stopped with the episode Sebastian's Fur.
Yeah,
or Fur by Sebastian,
yeah, Fur by
which
Sebastian,
I thought was probably the best episode.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and I thought it was just a fun concept, and it's quite trippy, but
it's incredibly trippy.
The thing is, what I did not like as much about the film, but I kind of got why they did it, is when they kind of move into those different dreams, because it's about 2 people, Jonah Hill and Emma Stone, and they both entered into this drug trial.
Yeah.
And she has kind of already abused this drug before she got in there, and that's why she signed up, so she could take the pill more, and it's about getting over one's trauma. And to help with this experiment, because it's a bit of a dystopian kind of future, which looks like it's stuck in the 80s.
Yes.
they kind of helped by a artificial intelligence, a computer who helps them through those dreams, I guess.
Yeah, Gertie.
And and Jonah Hill and Emma Stone seem to be kind of connected during those dreams sometimes, due to a male function or something. And then you kind of see those dreams, and they switch between quite vastly different settings from, well, in one of the dreams, in the normal 80s, I guess.
Yeah.
And then they're in a more of a noir setting, and then in a fantasy setting, gangster setting, whatever.
Yeah, all over the place, yeah.
And especially the fantasy setting seemed so disingenuous and just like they didn't even want to be there. They just, let's just say it's fantasy and nobody kind of put any kind of effort in it. Well, I guess that's kind of the point. It's supposed to be over the top and seem kind of lazy because she's not into that fantasy kind of setting.
Yeah, it just feels
why she
off
acts like
at times.
Yeah,
and I think that's on purpose.
But yeah, it's a fun and weird idea, and because of those different settings, you kind of see her in a way different performances.
Yes,
which I kind of liked.
I agree. I thought the concept is just wild and weird and fun and crazy, but I put it on my number 10 because I think it deserves to be mentioned, and because it's something that she hasn't done before. Like, as you said, she's playing lots of different characters there, but like, she is always the same person, but obviously in the dreams she plays like certain aspects of her personality are like heightened in those dreams, and it's all to work through the trauma that they went through. I just thought that I was more impressed by Jonah Hill than I was with Emma Stone. I think he was really, really great in Maniac, and it took me by surprise. And I think Emma Stone, she didn't really have, obviously it's the story between her and her sister, that's sort of the emotional part of her story. And I thought it was played well, but it just didn't floor me or anything. But just for the concept itself, I think it deserves a mention.
Yeah, and I think because you said, and I agree, that kind of Jonah Hill's performance, and I also think kind of his story was more engaging. It's also because Emma Stone's story, especially towards the end, became quite, how do you say, too sweet and too, kind of a cliche of how that kind of story would end and how the people would act. And, Jonah Hill just had kind of a tougher story and seemed more real because of that.
Yeah, I really liked the interaction between Jonah Hill and that Olivia, the waitress. Yeah. I thought she was in, the actress was in Under the Silver Lake as well.
Okay.
I looked that up afterwards because I knew that I knew her from somewhere, but I just couldn't figure out where. And she's in Under the Silver Lake. And I really, really liked the scenes between the two of them. Yeah, so it's on Netflix, Maniac, if anyone wants to check it out. And it's done by the guy who's doing the new Bond.
And who did season 1 of True Detective.
Right.
Kerry Joji Fukunaga?
Yes.
So what would you say is your favorite dream sequence?
My favorite dream
sequence? I think
sequence?
that's kind of the backbone of this show.
Wow. That's tough. I like the lemur sequence. I like that one where is that one of the first ones?
Yeah, it's first by Sebastian.
Yeah, right. Sorry, yeah. And I also like the the Goodfellas one where you know what I'm talking about, where the family like tortures people in the basement of their house. It was fucking all over the place. But yeah, the one that you talked about as well, the one with the like bow and arrow one with the High Priestess and the invisible moon and the tree, that was a bit too much for me as well. But
yeah, I kind of checked out for a moment.
Yeah. She reminded me of Thor, Emma Stone, in that. She reminded me of a female Thor. No, just the dry humor. Yeah, and the accent. I thought I pictured her as like a Thor's sister in that scene.
Yeah, I thought the accent was quite thick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just reminded me of Chris Hemsworth in Ragnarok, especially.
And talking about accent, I thought one of the last dream sequences where Jonah Hill plays the Icelandic diplomat.
Oh, thank you for mentioning that.
I loved it.
Dude, I watched it today and I almost forgot about it. That's my favorite, dude.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
My favorite.
His mother is like of Austrian. One of the things was Austrian descent.
Yeah.
Which I remember.
And his father like English,
Dutch,
Norwegian,
yes,
Icelandic.
Yeah. But that was that was so funny, his accent.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
It was perfect, yeah. Especially for the story that they told of his friend.
Yeah.
His alien friend.
The alien friend. Yeah. No, I'm so glad you mentioned that. That might be my favorite dream sequence. Yeah. All right, let's move on.
So that was my number 7. So what's yours?
Let's get ready to have you angry again. My number 7 is Superbad.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah? But I
love the film, and I have it a bit higher.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, she's got quite a small role in it. So,
yes.
Yeah, I get it.
All right. So, okay, let's talk about it later.
All right, number 6, a film that you might have higher, because I don't know what else you could have on this list.
Dude, it would fit the theme of the show so far. Just have everything higher.
The Help.
What number was that? Sorry?
Number 6.
Number 6. Yeah, I feel like let's talk about it. It's my number 4.
Okay.
And I watched this for this show. That was the main film that I hadn't seen from her. And I absolutely loved it.
Yeah?
I couldn't believe how much I loved it, yeah. But you start.
Yeah, I think it's a good film. It's a good performance by her especially. But the thing is, why I didn't put it higher, but I still have it high. It's a good film. It's quite an interesting story. I thought it was too easy, I guess. Too much of a feel-good film. I don't know, it was... I know those...
Like, is that based on a true story?
I don't think so. It's based on a book, I think.
Right, but it's not. The book isn't real? Like, that didn't happen?
I don't think so. Maybe.
I forgot to look that up. I wanted to do that before we started recording. True story. The Help, true story. Here we go.
Well, because she does write an article in it. I don't know if the article is based on something real.
Right. But you just give it a quick summary what it's about.
So yeah, Emma Stone plays I think journalist probably. It's been quite a while since I've seen it. And she lives in quite a rich suburban area where pretty much everybody has a African-American housemate. And it's about how they treat their housemates, the people who live there, and about how they want I can't say the fucking word. They want different bathrooms. Segregated. Is that the word?
Sure.
All right. So and
separated. Are you like
segregated?
Separated. Segregated.
Yeah. Segregation. That's the word I'm looking for, isn't it?
Yeah. No. You could also say like separate bathrooms, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
But anyway, yeah. So the people, the people who live in those houses want separate bathrooms for the house staff because, well, they're racist. And she kind of writes an article of the viewpoint of one of the housemates and how they perceive those things and the abuse that they kind of have to endure on a daily basis.
Yeah, sorry, I just looked up the true story, right? And the first one of the articles that popped up was Viola Davis regrets making The Help. It wasn't the voices of the maids that were heard. So I'm like, that stumped me a bit because she talks about the white people like being the main part of the plot when in fact.
That's what I kind of want to say because it kind of seemed too easy because it was once again one of those, I kind of hate it when people say it, but it's one of those white savior films where it's kind of only kind of seen through the eyes of a white person and who helps kind of a minority, and that's how it's told, and everybody's, oh, well, thank you, you're not racist. Well, you're making a film in the 21st century about in the 60s, and oh my god, there's a progressive white person in that film, how great.
Right, but it's like she's the anomaly though. I mean, every other character in the film
but that's kind of the basis for all those kind of films like Green Book or whatever. It's one white person who kind of stands up for a minority and that person's the hero. And I kind of get what she's saying because the story's very rarely told from a black person or whatever person's perspective who's actually discriminated in this film.
Yeah. No, I understand those viewpoints. I do. But I just... didn't and doesn't bother me. I thought, for me, the main characters were Viola Davis and Octavia Spencer. Those were sort of the two, and obviously Emma Stone, because she's the one who wants to tell their story. And you could argue, of course, that that's the white savior thing, and she's the one. But I mean, didn't it sort of have to be that in order for it to gain publicity back then? I mean, otherwise the story wouldn't have been told at all. I just don't think it's like the heroic story of Emma Stone's character, like publishing that story. I think it's more of it's about the story that is being told rather than the author who tells the story, you know? It's tricky.
I guess, but there are also quite a few scenes where like Emma Stone meets with her white friends and then kind of gets it how incorrect her behavior is.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree, well, that film kind of should have focused more on the other person's perspective from, like you said, Octavia Spencer and Viola Davis, which I'm not knocking Emma Stone for this, not at all.
Yeah.
But I think it would have just made the movie more interesting.
Yeah, fair enough. I really liked it a lot. I like a lot more than because I didn't know too much about it. I didn't know that it was about a story that she was trying to write and stuff. I just thought the cast was incredible. The entire cast.
Yeah.
It's got so many great actresses in it. And for example, like Jessica Chastain. First of all, the first name that pops up at the end credits, right, is Jessica Chastain. That sort of triggered me. Yeah. I was like, what in the world is going on? Like, I think Viola Davis was the second one, I think. If that, like Octavia Spencer was way further back as well. I just didn't understand that at all. I because The Help that came out in like 2010, maybe 11, something like that.
No idea.
And
maybe
Chastain wasn't like an A-lister back then, so I don't understand why. Because she's in it for not a lot of time in The Help. I loved her in it.
In
I thought
alphabetical order: Chastain, Viola Davis, and then Spencer is further back.
That could be, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I thought she was great, Jessica Chastain. She made me laugh out so many times, and also I thought she played if you remember the scene where she because obviously Bryce Dallas Howard is sort of the villain, and I thought she was great as well, very believable. And there was the scene where Jessica Chastain sort of stands outside their house. And she sees that there's a party going on and they're all hiding from her, and she looks through the window and sees what's going on, and then her walk back like disappointed or like sad that they don't want to have her at that party. I thought that was very well played. I really bought that completely.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember Jessica Chastain at all in this film.
It's been a while since you've seen it.
Yeah, a couple of years. So
yeah, she is one of the other good ones in this in terms of moral ethics and stuff. She's the one who hires Octavia Spencer's character after she's being fired from Bryce Dallas Howard's house.
All right,
and she's sort of the outsider who is just happy to have someone around who helps her, as opposed to like, and she doesn't see her as like a lesser human being than her, you know. She's a good person in this as well. And she's really funny in this at times. And Octavia Spencer is great. She obviously won the Oscar for this, and the scene with the cake that she makes for Bryce Dallas Howard, I don't know if you remember that. I thought that was a great scene. And
with the laxatives?
No, not quite. I don't want to spoil it.
All right.
And Sissy Spacek is in this. She's the mother of Bryce Dallas Howard, and you got who else is in this? I mean, what's her name? From I, Tonya? Allison Janney.
Yeah.
She plays Emma Stone's mother, and I thought she was great as well.
She's always great.
She's always good, yeah.
I love her, yeah.
She's amazing. So yeah, I really liked The Help a lot. But now I can understand what you're saying, and obviously now I'm reading that even Viola Davis isn't happy with the film. So maybe I'm in the wrong here, but I thought it was very well done.
Just to get back, I kind of want to say, while yes, I do have some gripes with this film, what I just said, but it's still a good film. It's still a well-made film.
Yeah.
And Emma Stone is great in it. So
yeah, I was surprised about how big her role was. I thought this was just like she's in it for a couple of minutes. I didn't know that she was really one of the main characters in this. Yeah, and the editor of the newspaper that she works at, he has like a few scenes. He is in Boston Legal, so that came like in the first few minutes of the film, and I was like, I've seen this guy in Boston Legal. I've never seen him in anything else. So that the movie. So I liked the movie from that point onwards because like this is already great. Yeah. All right, let's move on.
Your number 6.
My number 6 is a movie that we talked about on Bradley Cooper's episode, but I couldn't put it on the list. It was an honorable mention because he's in it for such a short time. But my number 6 is The Rocker.
A film that I haven't seen, yeah.
Do you remember that movie when we talked about it?
Yeah,
with
kind of.
Dwight from The Office as The Rocker.
Yeah, but what's her role in this film again?
Well, she is part of the band that the main character joins in his when he's in his 40s. So the main character is Dwight Schrute from The Office, Rainn Wilson, and he was in a band called Vesuvius, and that was with Bradley Cooper, Will Arnett, and I think what's his name from Portland, Fred Armisen, from SNL. So they were in a band, right, and they were hugely successful. But then someone wanted to sign them, and the only stipulation was that they get rid of Rainn Wilson's character. He was the drummer, and because he's a very eccentric, let's just say he's a very eccentric guy, right? And he didn't fit the image for the guys in charge or whatever. So they got rid of him. And then there's like a cut to like 20 years later when that band is now one of the biggest bands ever. And he works like a desk job at some firm, very unhappy with his life and gave up on music. And then his nephew, I believe, Josh Gad, who I'm a big fan of as well. He he has a band as well, and they lose their drummer, and they ask if Rainn Wilson could join the band as their drummer. And he's hesitant because he doesn't want to go back into it and blah blah blah. And Emma Stone is the bassist of the band, so that's sort of how she features in that. And she has a big part in it. She's like one of that sort of is the main story, the band that comes later. The second band there, and I watched this for the Bradley Cooper special, and I love this film. I like Rainn Wilson, but he's gross in this film. Like he's unhygienic and he's sweaty and blah blah blah. But the music is really what sold me on this film because it's actually like great music. It's written for the film, and it's one thing that because I play guitar, so it always bothers me when in films at concerts the people are like mimicking playing the instrument, right? And they're like playing chords that don't even exist and they don't really play along, yeah. Right? And in this movie it doesn't happen at all. They actually like play. They're not really playing it, but they're
mimicking,
right?
Correctly.
They're grabbing the right chords, and they're the bassist as well, and the drummer, and it all seems very very real. It reminded me in that just of A Star Is Born, just because they actually played it obviously at Star Is Born, but it was like one of those music films that actually like the people that made it cared about it, so that really came across, and the music is great, and it's sort of about that band now becoming famous, and then they eventually run into the old band that he was in, and sort of the story. I really liked it a lot, and it's a movie that not a lot of people have talked about or have seen, I think, and it's a solid recommendation for me. It's really really good.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun film, especially now that I've started seeing the Office. I kind of want to see more of Rainn Wilson.
Yeah,
Rainn Wilson,
yeah. I mean, he's called after one of my favorite things, so.
Rainn
Wilson. Wilson from Castaway.
All right, yeah.
No, Rainn, yeah, Rainn. But I was going to say one more thing. Christina Applegate is in this from Anchorman.
Mm-hmm.
She's the female anchor, and Jason Sudeikis is in this as well as the band manager. So it's got a really really good cast, and Rainn Wilson, he's done interesting things. He's done a film called Super by
yeah, it's a fun film.
Have you seen that? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's done by James Gunn, I think.
Yeah. With Ellen Page.
Yes.
That's why I watched it back in the day. It's fun, yeah.
Yeah. So he's had an interesting career. I mean, I don't think anything's going to come close to his role as Dwight Schrute, and I've heard him talk about that, and he's fine with that as well. But he's done some interesting things, and The Rocker is certainly one thing that I enjoyed a lot. So that's my number 6.
All right. So moving on to number 5.
Yes.
Now it's getting interesting. My number 5 is Irrational Man.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. That was my number 9. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's a good film. I think it is. I haven't seen it since we watched it in the cinema, so
same.
My mind might have changed when I see it again. But the thing is, I think Emma Stone and kind of her personality and her way of performing is perfect for a Woody Allen film.
Yeah,
I think she has this kind of awkward personality in some of her films, which fits perfectly. Especially, I think it's her second Woody Allen film after the one with Colin Firth.
The one with Colin. Magic in the Moonlight. Yes.
Magic in the Moonlight. Yeah.
That's not going to make your list.
No.
Okay, no, it's
fine.
It's on my honorables as well. I like that movie a lot.
Yeah. But the thing is, Irrational Man. Yeah, like I said, it kind of fits perfectly. I think the ending, one of the last scenes, is just so great.
Don't remember it.
Yeah, all right. Well, I don't want to say it because
does it involve an elevator?
Yes, it does.
Okay, no, I do remember it. Yeah, I remember it. Yeah. I watched the trailer for it today, so just to
Me too.
Yeah. I do remember the core, or let's say the turning point of the film. I remember that, but
yeah.
Everything else has been a bit cloudy for me, but I remember liking it a lot as well. And I like Woody Allen films. I know that's a controversial statement, but
well, it's a different thing to say you like his films or you like him,
right?
So,
well, yeah,
you got to differentiate.
Yes, but it's about sort of the relationship between a teacher and a student. A teacher is Joaquin Phoenix, and Emma Stone's the student, and it's sort of about the change that Joaquin Phoenix's character goes through, and sort of what happens there, and the relationship between them, and you sort of you figure out what happens throughout the film, and it's in typical Woody Allen fashion. You know, there's turns that you don't quite expect, and it's quite dark as well at times. I mean, darker than you would think when the movie starts off as this romantic comedy, but that's just typical Woody Allen, and I think that's what makes his films interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's a good team up between her and Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah,
they could play well together.
I agree.
All right,
could be seen as the spiritual prequel to Joker. After that film, he went on to do other things.
Well, he is quite crazy in this film as well, yeah.
Yeah, another thing that is actually considered that as well is You Were Never Really Here, the film. Because that came out a couple of years before Joker, and that also, some people call that a spiritual prequel to the Joker as well.
I think it's more of a sequel, isn't it? When the Joker kind of gets fat and old and just...
Yeah, could be argued that as well. Yeah, could argue that as well. Yeah. All right. My number 5. Or sorry, are we done with?
Yeah, I think we're done.
My number 5 is Birdman.
All right. My number 3 is Birdman.
Okay,
so we can talk about it now.
Yeah. Did we see? No, we didn't see that together. No. I remember distinctly that Birdman, it came out around the same time that Nightcrawler did.
Oh, great film.
And I remember that sort of being the turning point in my movie-going life. Because a friend of mine, Lucas, you know him, we went to the theater quite a lot, to the cinema quite a lot, especially when those movies came out. And I remember really falling in love with the idea of anticipating movies and sort of reading up on films and studying directors and just being excited for films rather than just, seeing a trailer and just saying, oh, that looks good, but actually anticipating films well before trailers come out. And Birdman was the first film that I'd seen from Iñárritu. So I had no idea what, of his work or what he had done. But I just knew that it was something to be excited about because the premise sounded great, And I just remember that the film, it some people call it gimmicky because it's that one shot. It's filmed as it is. It looks like it's one shot when in reality there's like 2 or 3 or maybe more cuts hidden in there. I was just kind of amazed at how well it looked and how well it was done. And you could also argue that that's not really Emma Stone's. She's not really that big of a character in it. She is, but it's obviously a Keaton film, and maybe even more a Norton film than it is a Stone film. But I thought she was great, and I thought the film was great. This is more of a pick where the movie sort of elevated my placement here, as opposed to her performance, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, she did get an Oscar nomination. I think she did quite a good job in how she acted and how she portrayed her kind of relationship with her father and the problems that they had. And I don't know if you remember that scene when she kind of does those lines on the toilet paper.
She does lines on the toilet paper?
Yeah.
What, cocaine?
No, she draws little lines.
I don't remember that, no.
Because I rewatched it yesterday.
Okay.
In anticipation of this podcast. And the first time I watched the film, I thought it was quite good. I really liked it, but I thought, all right, I didn't get why it was so beloved. But now that I rewatched it, I saw how great it was.
Okay,
and really love this film now. Because, like you said, also because of the one shot. I don't think it's that gimmicky because, well, yeah, if you do a film in one shot and you just do a linear story that kind of just shows somebody going from A to B to B to C, but it's just days change and how they kind of pan up, and then you see that scene and then they kind of talk and you go around the corner and the voices you hear from around the corner are the play that is started the next day, and I don't know, just those seamless transitions from scene to scene are just
it's great. So well done. It's so well done, absolutely.
Yeah. And those kind of lines, and that scene is because she was in rehab in that film. She kind of tells her father that they learned in rehab to do a line on like toilet paper or paper, and every line represents 10,000 years, and they're supposed to represent the 6 billion years we've been on this planet.
Yes, it sort of rings a bell.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the scene though? So she just tells him about that.
Yeah, he asks her why she's doing this, and they kind of talk, and he's just so caught up in the performance that he just had that he kind of takes one of the toilet papers because just one piece of toilet paper represents the whole time humanity has been here.
Yeah.
And the rest is just, well, the earth without us. To kind of represent and kind of put you in perspective, put things in perspective, and just kind of takes this toilet paper and kind of wipes his mouth with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a sweet scene.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a great cast as well. It's got Galifianakis is in this, one of the podcast favorites.
And apparently he did the least mistakes because every time somebody made a mistake, you kind of have to do the whole thing over.
Yeah.
And he did the least mistakes. So good for him.
I believe
Emma Stone has apparently made the most.
That's why we're honoring her.
Yeah.
By the way, we forgot to mention this because obviously we need a reason to talk about Emma Stone, and let's say
what is our reason?
Well, it is because she apparently got married.
Yeah, all right. Congratulations.
So we felt like we had to talk about her. Yeah.
Did she get married or engaged?
I don't know. It's all rumors. But she's definitely engaged. She posted a picture, or her husband posted, or her boyfriend posted a picture of them, and she had a ring on the thing. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Yes. So happy for her. Yeah. But yeah, the Birdman cast. I mean, you got Naomi Watts in this. You got Edward Norton in this. You got Andrea Riseborough. However you pronounce her name, she's a great actress. I really like her.
The great love of Steve Carell's character in The Office plays
Amy Ryan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is she Amy Ryan?
Sorry, Amy Ryan. Yeah. Yes.
Plays Michael Keaton's ex.
Right. Stellar cast and
and apparently.
Yeah, sorry.
Edward Norton kind of plays himself, which I thought was great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Michael Keaton sort of plays a version of himself as well, doesn't he? I mean, as that washed-up actor.
Apparently, he said it's the most dissimilar character did he to him and to his other roles. So.
Well, but just because he played
the premise.
Yeah, he played a washed-up actor, and he obviously Birdman and Batman, and sort of he revives his career with that sort of that. There's a lot of parallels, and he was cast for a reason. I mean, that movie was written for him, I think. Great film. All right.
Yeah. All right. Number...
Yeah, what's your number 4? Your number 4, yeah.
Yeah. A film that's been that you picked a lot on a higher place, lower.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, the favorite.
You want to say it? No, it's Superbad.
Okay. Yeah. My number is
quite up, high up in my list. Low. I don't know how you ever want to see it. Number 10 is on the top of my list. Whatever. Superbad. Yeah, Emma Stone isn't a huge part of this film. She's a important part, but compared to the other roles and from a screen time, because the cast is just so amazing with Michael Cera, Seth Rogen, Bill Hader, Jonah Hill, Christopher Mintz, something.
Placé,
yeah.
However you pronounce his name, yeah, McLovin,
yeah, McLovin. It's a great film, and
it is.
Apparently the start of Emma Stone's red hair.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
I think originally she has like dark blonde hair, and she had to dye it for the film, and she just kind of kept it.
Well, she's actually called Emily.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
She had to change that for the Screen Actors Guild, or because Emma was taken. I think Emma Stone. So Emily Stone was taken.
No, we got all the fun facts out there.
Right.
It's a great film, and
it is.
I think it might actually be the first film that I've seen her in, and I just love it. I've seen it so many times, and I got it on Blu-ray, and I kind of like to rewatch it every year, or every 2 years.
Yeah,
and it's always fun.
It is. I think everyone has seen Superbad.
Yeah. And just to kind of see her and Jonah Hill and kind of goofing around in the kitchen, if you remember that scene, it's just so sweet and so genuine, I think.
Yeah, and the scene outside of the party, I think that's a great scene as well. She's really, really good in this, and everyone. I mean, it's a classic. You could say that by now. I think Superbad certainly counts as one of the best films of its kind over the last couple of years, for sure.
And kind of start that kind of weird comedy, which is kind of more mature in its way. Yeah,
and it's sweet that obviously Jonah Hill and Emma Stone worked together there, and now they did Maniac together. So,
and they look so different, especially Jonah Hill.
Yeah,
but I just had to put it high up on the list because
I completely understand.
Such a great film.
Yeah, I really like it too. I rewatched it as well like a year ago, and really liked it a lot still. And as I said, it's just it being my number 7 doesn't mean it's that it's just I like a lot of her movies.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Right, so my 4 was The Help. So it's your 4.
My number. My number 4 was Superbad. So my number 3 was Birdman, which we already talked about. So what's your number 3?
My number 3. Well, okay, interesting. My number 3 is La La Land. Had to do number 3 there.
It's gonna be higher.
It's gonna be higher. All right, let's wait for it then. It sounds like it's gonna be maybe even 2 slots higher. What's your number 2?
So let's have this discussion, man. The favorite, number 2.
There's not much of a discussion to be had here. I mean, I like the film, dude. I'm happy that you liked it more.
Well, for one, it's a great film and just such a great performance, and she so deserved her nomination. Just who she played and how she played it had so much depth in it, and especially compared to some of her other roles, which are like Zombieland comedy roles, which are simpler compared to what she did there, because it is filled with a lot of humor and how she acted, and she kind of seems like a very likable character and has a lot of fun scenes, and then you kind of see her and you kind of hate her for a second, and then you kind of pity her, and you see all that range, and it's just a great film by a great director, and
absolutely, I agree with everything you said. It's just I will never not see this as a Olivia Colman film, and that's not taking away anything from Emma Stone. I just think when I think of The Favorite, I think of Olivia Colman and her. I think even like amazing performance. Like I think she's the standout of the film. But as I said, I completely agree with everything you said as well. I think Emma Stone is great. I think Rachel Weisz is great. Nick Holt is in this, I think, as well. And obviously the director, Yorgos Lanthimos, is someone who, over the last couple of years as well, made a big name for himself. And now he's, well, especially for like people who love films, he's considered as one of the most exciting directors working today. And he did The Lobster and
Killing of a Sacred Deer.
And Dogtooth, or that Greek film. I think it's called Dogtooth. So certainly a very exciting director, and The Favorite lived up to expectations. I thought it was great. I remember seeing that. I saw that at a festival, and just the atmosphere was amazing. But I do have to say, I think the first half of the film is much, much better than the second half. That's just me, though. That's also a reason why it's lower on my list. I didn't love the second half as much as I did the first.
Well, it gets way darker in the second half. Yeah. But just the ending, I thought one of the last scenes was just so impactful.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Great film. Not taking anything away from everything you said.
Now, once again, if you don't know what Favorite is actually about.
Yeah.
Favorite is, I don't know if it's about a real queen or the Queen of England. And she has some emotional problems. I don't know about how much of it is based on reality. I think she did have some problems, and kind of most of her reign was taken over by her advisors, who kind of just used her.
Right.
And there are two people. One is Rachel Weisz, who's kind of her assistant, who kind of assumes a lot of the power that she has because the queen trusts her, and if the queen trusts her, she gets the power.
Yeah.
And she really uses her, and she's like a bit of a little child. Olivia Colman, and then
Queen
Emma
Anne,
Stone comes
right?
along. Yeah, maybe. And then Emma Stone kind of comes along and starts working in the palace, and
Abigail.
yeah, and kind of works her way up.
Yeah. She sort of, she works her way into Queen Anne's heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with ulterior motives, maybe.
Of course, yeah.
Absolutely. And it looks gorgeous, the film.
Yeah.
Just the fisheye lenses that he used. And it's a very...
it's such a weird take.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. Feels very off as well, but that's sort of the director's style, and there's some great comedic moments that come through that as well.
Yeah.
Great pick.
All right. Number 2. What's yours?
My number 2 is a movie that I absolutely love, and another movie that not a lot of people have seen. It's called Paperman. Have you seen that?
When I looked through her Letterboxd credits, I saw Paperman. I knew that you really liked that film.
I do.
But I wasn't sure if it would make your list, and I'm kind of surprised that it would make your number 2 spot.
Oh, yes. And one thing, Emma Stone did like a BBC interview. I think it was for La La Land. Maybe that's wrong. But with Ali Plum, the guy who does all the BBC interviews. Mm. And I remember he asked her the question, what was like her most underrated film, I think was the question, or a movie that is very dear to her heart that maybe not a lot of people have seen. And when she said Paperman, that made me very, very happy, because I had seen it. I'd already seen it, and I loved the film, and I was happy to hear her talk about it, and remembering it fondly as well, because it really, really floored me, that film. It's with Jeff Daniels, who, like Dumb and Dumber, and he did The Newsroom, and one of the most accomplished actors. He's done so many things, and he's a writer, and he has writer's block, and he has an imaginary friend who's a superhero called Captain Excellent, who's played by Ryan Reynolds. And this movie came out I think 2009, so that's been like before Ryan Reynolds has had his breakthrough that he has now with Deadpool, and before Emma Stone was a well-known actress. But yeah, he's his imaginary friend, or superhero friend, and Jeff Daniels' character, he sort of retrieves in a house to get rid of the writer's block, and then in that community he meets Emma Stone's character, who's a very, very complex and sad character in her own way, like Jeff Daniels. And then it's about sort of the friendship. It's really just a friendship that develops between the two of them, and they sort of help each other. And it's just a very, very emotional and a film that really hit me, and it takes turns that that one doesn't expect, and it's funny at times, and it's just very, very genuine and real. I think Lisa Kudrow plays his wife, Jeff Daniels. Yeah,
all right.
I hope that's right. But Ryan Reynolds, he delivers the comedy in this, and it really, really, some really, really great scenes between the two of them, emotional scenes as well. And the relationship between Emma Stone and Jeff Daniels is great and very, very believable and honest and heartfelt. And if you haven't seen Paperman and if you haven't heard of it, which I don't think a lot of people have, I think seek it out. I actually got it on Blu-ray at a store here, so it's available should be easily accessible. And it's really, really worth it, and it's great. I haven't seen it since. I've only watched it the once, but things sort of stuck in my mind, and that's a very, very that's one of the highest compliments I can give a film. I can remember pretty much everything about the film, and it's just really, really great. And I had to put it high on my list, and it landed on number 2. Could be a different placement tomorrow, but these are just like this is the way that we see it today.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember when we went to the store and you saw the Blu-ray, and I think you bought it or you told me about it. It's a great film, and now that I kind of tried to research Emma Stone films and to see what I had missed, I saw Paperman. I kind of went on IMDb, typed in Paperman, and the ratings are just horrific. And was so surprised because
I don't think they're horrific. I think
really
the meta score is pretty bad, right?
Yeah, the meta score is like 30 something, and I think the ratings is like 5 point something or
6.6.
6.6.
That's decent.
Better than I thought. All right.
Yeah.
But just to see that red Metascore sign, I mean, that doesn't have to mean anything. I've seen films with
it doesn't
horrific ratings, and I thought that I had a great time watching them. But yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, dude.
I was surprised.
So was I. I love this film. What's your number 2?
My number 2 was Favorite. My number 1.
Oh, sorry.
And now that we have number 1, I know what your number 1 is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy.
No question.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
What?
Literally.
All right. So my number 1, you probably figured it out as well. It's La La Land.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I just had a blackout. Yeah. Wow, that surprises me, though.
Well, I love this film. I love it so much, and every time I see it, it kind of gets better, I think. And those songs are stuck in my head, and just the fact that she sang all of her own songs and the way she sang it and her own dancing, and she did so much in this film, and she's kind of one of the lead roles, and she does an amazing job. I thought she and Ryan Gosling have so much chemistry together.
Yes.
Which we also will see in your number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Gangster Squad.
I was going to say the same. Yes.
But yeah, it's how could you not love this film? I kind of get it if you're not into musicals, but I think you cannot deny that this is a well-made film, even if you don't like musicals.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, Ryan Gosling as well, how much effort he put into his role, but just from an Emma Stone point of view, just amazing. I think it's kind of a thing because in musicals, they often, I think, acting gets kind of neglected.
Yes.
And it's more kind of based on those musical scenes, and everybody says like 5 things and then they break out into song and just sing their emotions. But they don't in this film. They don't. They have a kind of a conversation in a song way. And often in those kind of films, in musicals, you're not sure. So is it alright for people to just dance and sing in the streets and everybody's fine with it? This is nothing kind of special. Yeah. But in this film, I think it kind of comes across more as something more of a figurative way of doing it. They're not literally singing and dancing necessarily, just of how they act and how they dance around each other, and it just makes so much sense. And you never like, all right, they're singing now. It's kind of weird. It always kind of perfectly fits the scene, and just the chemistry they have, like I said, it's just amazing. The way they meet at the party and how they get to know each other, and the way they kind of hate each other at first, or they have love-hate relationship, and then just those, how their relationship seems so real, and then how he shows her his interests about jazz and how she really gets into it, and just seems like she really kind of learns something new, and she's into this kind of new thing. Yeah, I'm kind of rambling.
No, because I remembered something. I just want to, sorry, but in the Between Two Ferns bloopers that we talked about last week, John Legend is a guest who's also in La La Land, and Zach asks him like, how does it feel to pave the way for white people to explain jazz to black people? That reminded me of what you just said. He explained his love to jazz.
That's fair. That's kind of fair. But just the ending, the end scene, and
you love the end, yeah? Because that's a bit.
Yeah.
I when I saw that for the first time, was torn about it. But now the more I think about it, I do love the ending as well. And what I have to say as well, I think this, if we talk about performances, I think this is her best performance. I would say so. And you could argue that it's also one of the best films that she's been in. I wouldn't disagree with that, just from a filmmaking standpoint and her performance and
well, filmmaking standpoint, we just talked about Birdman, favorite of although made in a very professional is not the right word because it's more than professional. It's just geniuses at work. It's hard to do those kind of films.
Yeah, she's worked with some great directors.
Yeah.
And certainly with Damien Chazelle in La La Land. Yeah, dude, I agree. I also agree with everything you said. It's my number 3. That it's also very, very high up on my list. I just love the other 2 films I got above it more. But La La Land is certainly, because I'm not a big musical fan either. So I was a bit hesitant about it, but I was happy. I was excited about it because I love Whiplash, the director's first film.
Yeah.
Or, well, not the first film, but sort of the one
kind of breakthrough film. Yeah. Well, wasn't it his first film? Like Whiplash was a short film that he kind of developed into.
Yeah, no, he did a film called
feature?
Guy and Madeline on a Park Bench. I think that was his first feature film.
Classic, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually saw that in the theater.
It's good.
It was all right.
All right.
But yeah, La La Land. I don't think we need to talk about it that much more because I think everyone has at least heard about it, and I think you should give it a go if you're hesitant about it being a musical. I think this is the one that could sway your opinion on the genre.
Yeah, it's kind of a very modern take on it. I think it kind of evolved the whole genre.
Yeah, certainly.
Oh. So yeah, your number 1, Crazy Man. Dude, it's crazy.
It is crazy, it is stupid, and it is love.
She's got such a small role.
I really disagree. I don't know what you mean.
Well, just says screen time. I mean,
yeah, no, I agree, and I'm going to repeat myself again. And you're right. If we talk about like her performance and the part that she has, this is not one of the main things. This is not one of her biggest parts. This is not one of her best performances. But this is really one of my top 10 films ever. I could say that.
Yeah, it's a great film, and I put it number 10 because I thought her role was so little. But it would be number 5 on my list.
Yeah, I just don't. I have to disagree with the role being little. I mean, you're right that it's more of a Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling film.
They meet in the beginning, and then she just doesn't make an appearance for quite a while, and then they have their dirty dancing scene. But yeah.
Well, no, it's the interaction between her and Josh Groban, and her girlfriend, and sort of the party that they have there, and then the struggles she has with the boyfriend, and then she breaks up with the boyfriend, and then
we only see the boyfriend like once.
Oh, he's in
the dinner.
Yeah, there's a party scene. Yeah. No, I think she's certainly. I would agree that, as I said, Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling are the 2 main actors or the main parts of the film, but Julianne Moore, Emma Stone, they're certainly not side characters.
John Carroll Lynch.
The great John Carroll Lynch. You got Kevin Bacon. You got, I mean, I think it all culminates in that not the final scene, but that garden scene, right? And I think that's just one of the most, I'm going to say it's one of the most genius scenes that I've seen. It's hysterical. I think the actors are incredible. I love Steve Carell, you know that. I love Ryan Gosling and I love Emma Stone, and they're all at their A game. And Kevin Bacon certainly helps that scene as well. And it is a bit like the whole scenes with Steve Carell's son and the neighbor's girl. You could argue that that's maybe a bit like, I don't know, maybe not the most necessary part of the whole thing, but even I think it's kind of also realistic, and I like the way that they wrap up their storyline as well. I think that's kind of, I mean, it is sort of the boy's fantasy coming to life a little bit, but not too much, you know. It's kind of realistic, I think.
I thought it was kind of much and kind of weird, but kind of funny. Like in the very last scene where his babysitter and him see each other in the parking lot. You know what I mean?
The babysitter and her see each other.
No, the babysitter. Oh, she's the babysitter, and
yes.
The boy she babysits.
Yeah,
he was got a crush on her.
Yes.
And they meet. For the very last time.
No,
in the film.
Isn't the last scene between the two of them where she hands him an envelope?
Yeah, that's
well,
what
that's
I mean.
at a prom scene. No, that's like no, not a prom, but that's like
No,
a
it's
school
like a
party.
graduation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
No, that.
I mean, good for him, I guess.
Good for him, and good from her, right? I mean, she's sort of. And that's what I mean.
Yeah, but
it doesn't.
he's so young, dude.
No, I agree, dude. But it is realistic, wouldn't you say?
Dude, lucky him, dude. I would love to be him with that envelope, but
yeah,
at his age,
and I like the fact
would
that
blow my mind. Yeah,
yeah, and I like the fact that it didn't go further than that. I think it's, you know what I mean, and just I love everything about the film. I really do. I think obviously you got the macho Gosling there, but the whole interactions between him and Carell are my favorite bit, and obviously then the scene at the end. But there's so many other scenes, and I like the relationship that Steve Carell has with his wife. I think that's very genuine as well, and just
it's got so many great scenes. Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
Like the car scene
where he jumps out.
Stop the car! I want to get out. So
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
No, I'm not stopping the car.
It's like Lady Bird, right? Didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah. I just love the film, and I had to put it high. And now it is, as I said, it's just one of my favorite films ever. And I agree with what you said. It's maybe not her, it's not her biggest part, but I just had to put it number one. I love the film.
When I saw this film, well, we do a trivia night now and again, which we haven't done in quite a while. Where
we used to.
Flo and I and a couple of friends get together and we do a movie night. And one of the categories we got at the trivia night is 6 Degrees of Bacon. And when I saw that film, I totally forgot that he was in it. And I saw it with all those characters. And I was like, all right, I got so many new degrees that I could go on.
Yeah.
Next time we play this game.
Yeah, he's David Lindhagen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just...
To get why we're laughing just because of that name. Watch the film.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, just if you haven't seen it, please check it out. That's just
Yeah.
a movie for absolutely everybody, I think. And just the scene where where they all sit together, like after the garden scene,
Yeah.
and the police officers come along, and they just he said, like, next time just keep it in the family.
Kind of a hard thing to say, dude.
Yeah, but Gosling he can't help but crack a smile. I mean, just it's so good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's the best thing that I've seen from Emma Stone.
All right.
Any honorables?
Well, I was thinking about putting Easy A in there.
Same thing, dude.
It's a fun, light comedy. But
I think there's going to be
not.
a little bit of surprise that didn't make either of our lists, because it is considered as one of her, also maybe one of the breakthrough roles, one of the many breakthrough roles that she had, but also one of her best films. And I just didn't love it as much as everyone else. I just didn't love it.
Gangster Squad it's a fun film,
It's
but
alright,
it's a film that should have been made like 10, 20 years earlier, just of how much macho, over-the-top action it has.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And also Magic in the Moonlight, the Woody Allen film.
Yeah.
And one thing that I'm sad that didn't make my list, because I'm one of the few people who liked those films, is the Amazing Spider-Man. I like those films.
I thought it would make your list, and I would have been so surprised. I only saw the first one, and I never saw the second one, because I heard it's even worse than Amazing Spider-Man 1, and I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, no, I did. I really did. But it just didn't crack my top 10. But that's it. I don't have anything.
Anything else?
No. I did want to mention the lip sync battle. Have you seen that with her and Jimmy Fallon?
I don't think so.
I think she's one of the first ones to do it on the Tonight Show, and that YouTube video is still up. Because usually they take these down after a couple of months.
Really?
And this one is still up. Yeah, it's got like I don't know how many millions of views, and she's really great in this. But it just it didn't make my list, but I wanted to mention it. But that's it.
See if there's anything else. House.
I haven't seen the house. I was just gonna say it. I have not seen the House Bunny. I haven't seen it.
It's pretty bad.
Okay,
it's really bad.
Yeah.
I was thinking about watching Aloha just so I could talk about
Absolutely.
it.
It's supposed to be so terrible.
No time. Yeah.
It's supposed to be so terrible. But I wanted to watch that too, but I couldn't do it either. But yeah, that's it.
Well, yeah, good list.
Good list. Great actress. And yeah, if there's anything from our list that you haven't seen it that piqued your interest, then please check it out. Let us know what you thought about it. And Ricky, thank you for listening. We appreciate your help.
Yeah. See you next week.
Yeah. See you next week. We'll talk. We'll call you. And yeah, I think we're done, right?
I think so. If you don't know us on Twitter and you want to see our crazy interaction with Ricky Gervais,
yes.
Find us on Best Thing Radio.
Yes.
And well, if you're listening to this, you know how to listen to this podcast, I guess. But otherwise, if you want to tell somebody about it, we're also on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and other
everywhere.
Places.
Yes. Yeah. Please spread the word. Please leave a rating if you feel like it. We would appreciate that a lot. Doesn't take you a lot of time, and it helps us a lot. That'd be great on Apple Podcasts. And I think that's it for today's show. And we'll be back with another regular episode next Monday.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
That's it. All right. Take care.
Bye.